Imagine yourself walking in the shoes of a young girl living in confusion, constantly being influenced by the images of promiscuous women on reality shows, yet her reality shows no difference. And so she wears the makeup. And with a body like hers, how could she not attempt to squeeze herself into that tight dress, allowing temptation to become her tool in order to gain the attention she so longed for? Jumping from boyfriend to boyfriend, giving up a piece of herself every time like it matters anyways, cause nowadays it's I can do bad all by myself. They're all dogs anyways. Falling victim to our judgmental society, call her what you want cause she's heard it all. She even noticed when you told your boyfriend to stay away from that girl, and I better not catch you talking to her either, or it's over, like they matter anyways. And she's never been a stranger to the looks of disgust from those who wish that she can truly feel how they feel about her. But if only they knew the struggle of never having a father to teach her that her body is a temple and should be respected. You know the saying, the father's a daughter's first love. Never experiencing true love made her an easy target for the playboys who would toss up that 3-word phrase, girl, you know I love you. Falling victim from their lies since you didn't hear it at home. Not only
How's it going, everyone? Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Unlimited Power Show. My name is Edward Giles, and you're tuning into another holistic conversation. And the word holistic stands out to me because I have a mission in life, which is to empower and motivate and uplift people to take care of their mind, body, nutrition, and their spirituality. And today I have a man who has about the same mission, which is impacting and empowering his community to look at all the different areas of their lives rather than just one. I would like to introduce you to the one and only Hernold Michel. Thank you for coming on the show, brother.
It's a pleasure. Actually, it's an honor, man. When you reached out to me, at first I didn't know who you were, but coming to see like the different people you're working with in the community, I got to know of you. We sat down, I'm like, man, let's get it going. Because like you said, our missions, our vision is very similar. Even though we're going about doing it different ways, but very similar.
Yeah, most definitely. It's like, how do I bring guests to the Unlimited Power Show? I always want to showcase to you different people in a different passion, and then kind of like tell you their story rather than, because sometimes you see what you see up front has more to it. You know, there's the building blocks of your character. You know, speaking of that, why don't you tell us a little self-introduction? One thing I say is never introduce anyone, right? So we allow you to, tell the audience a quick little introduction about where you came from, who you are, and what you do now.
I was not born here. I was born originally in Haiti. I came here when I was 8 years old. Then I remember middle school, going through different transitions in life in my household, trying to find myself, identity. So I started getting lost. Then high school, making the transition into high school, like I completely became someone totally different looking back now. So I had to turn to something that was bigger than myself. I believe at that time, God found me. So 12th grade year before graduating, I had an encounter with Christ, picked up the Bible, and then from that day, never turned back. And my life has been so impacted by that one decision. That's where the decision was made, okay? The mission was placed in my heart to start a nonprofit organization to teach young men and women how to live a well-balanced life. Like by teaching on health, finance, connections, social connections, relationships, and connecting with God and finding your true purpose of why you were created.
So I wanted to go back a little bit. I came from Haiti to the United States, and there are people watching this all over the world, probably going to come from Turks and Caicos, from Bahamas or from Jamaica, coming to the U.S., and they have to make that transition. Like, what did you find was like very useful in helping you making the transition, or what did you find not useful? The negative and positive experiences of transitioning from a different country to the United States?
Well, being as I came here at 8 years old, I was not making decisions for myself. Being young, I was a shy, timid. I stayed to myself. So that actually helped me learn the culture and the language much faster, because a lot of people wouldn't know that, because I think I was in Esau for only 1 year. So by the next grade, I was out of Esau because I would not really talk much, so I would just watch and I would pick up the language.
Right.
So that's why till this day I learn best by osmosis. So like I will sit back, I will pick up. So what helped me in looking back, I was not purposely doing it, but instead of going straight in, I would just be more back. I would be more in the back, right. But studying the language, studying the dress code, like protocols and things like that. And as time goes on, I was able to apply those protocols and, of course, being my own.
Do you think you studied the right things? Because you could study the wrong people, or you could study the wrong things. So what was the studying like? What was the end result of your studying?
When I was studying or watching, whether people or like the protocols of the environments and things like that, when it would go against what I believe, it was always something that I would be like, okay, yo, this is wrong. Like, or, okay, I'm not gonna go that route. I can say for one example from middle school, like smoking. Like that was something like I stayed away from. Like even though it was in my face, like the moment I got here, smoking, drugs and all, it was in my face, but the values and morals that my parents had already instilled in me is like, okay, you know what? I see this, but I'm not going that route.
Did you ever, you know, if you're Zoe, it's like how they call Liglies.
Yeah.
Did you stick to those?
You had no choice. Like, especially from the age of 8. Like I said, from the age of 8 years old to like
8 to 18.
No, for me it was like from 8 to 14, or 12. That when he came to the U.S., like my dad, he worked so hard, so he would never go to church, but he would drop us off to my mom and my sisters and brothers to church, but he would have to work. So me, my mom and sisters and brothers, we would be in church, but he wouldn't be there. So yes, from the age of 8 to like I said about 12, we was in church, but because my mom was not working.
Right.
But as time go on, and then my parents went through a divorce, like my mom now was working, my dad was working, so it's like you're on your own. So that's the whole part where now I was raising myself. Right. So the choice to go to church, even though my parents would want me to go to church, it was like my choice. And my sisters and brothers, they're much older than me, so they were already working. So sometimes they'll work Sunday, so it's like, okay, like I had the choice to do what I wanted to do.
What are some of the values that Haitians, you know, like the Haitian family, I feel like they say that all the Haitian families have all the same values. What are some, just name them really quickly, what are some of the top things you heard from your family?
I can't say all the Haitians have the same. I can't say it because I haven't been around all the Haitians, but I know, and to this day I stick with it. Loyalty. Like, yeah, you have loyalty, and that's why you see, like, it could be mistaken as pride or something like that, but like you don't see, well, it's my family, like we don't mix in with too many people. Because like when you're with somebody, it's like, yo, you have my loyalty, like you have my word. Like if I'm with you, like we may fight, we may argue, but you have my trust and loyalty and things. Yeah. Honesty is another thing. And that kind of deal with loyalty. Like we're honest with each other. Hardworking. That I think God like.
That's the red. If you bleed red and blue, then you have to be a hard worker.
Hardworking.
That's part of it.
The only difference I can say with me and this new generation of Haitians, we're taking hardworking in a different way. Cause my mom and dad and my uncles and family, they were hardworking with their backs. And that's why it was different when I started in business. My dad like, yo, you're wasting time. I'm like, what do you mean I'm wasting time? Because he see me on a computer all day. He's like, you're not doing nothing. I'm like, what are you talking? I'm working. Because I was editing pictures, videos, and I was doing marketing. But he's like, yo, all you do is stay on this computer, go get a job.
Like you need, oh, okay, yeah.
So them hard working is breaking their backs and like labor, hard labor.
You can't blame them because hard working was that, now it's that we have that white collar.
Yes. Me hardworking now is like I'm on the computer, I'm setting up meetings, I'm making connections. So my dad, he worked 24 hours. I'm not gonna say I probably work longer hours than him, but I do it in a way where it's like, it seems like I'm doing nothing. Because all he knows hardworking is physical labor. So me hardworking is making sure like marketing and like the internet, people relation, PR, and things like that. So I've taken his ethics, like his way I seen him work, to this field now. So I make sure I'm on my P's and Q's, and yeah.
In that aspect, you know, one thing you said is that your parents tell you to get a job. You know, I always want to make sure that somebody can, like, you know, parents oftentimes don't see your dream as like, oh, you're actually gonna make this happen. Have you ever had really self-doubt from your, I mean, not self-doubt, but doubt from your parents on what you're chasing because it was not hard labor, it was not a regular job? How did you see past that and still do what you're doing?
I hear that a lot. Being blessed, like, my father not being there, it was pros to it and cons. Like, he was always working, so he didn't really know what was going on with me. But when he would see what was on, he would be thinking like, yo, man, you're not doing nothing, or like, get a job. But my mom, and I thank God for my mom, and this being the month of Mother's Day, we're in May, she's always been supportive. Like, no matter what I put my hands on, is like, she may not see it, but she's the type, like, I don't see it, and she's gonna remind me, hey, make sure, like, because you remember one day you're gonna wanna start a family, you're gonna need to pay your own bill, I'm not gonna be here forever. Yo, make sure you gotta do what you do. But she would never tell me, like, yo, what you're doing is, like, pointless, or like you're wasting your time. She'll be the one to, like, encourage me. But one thing I've learned early, if you face that, you always gotta update. Like, I would show her the things I'm doing. Like, even if meetings, I'm like, hey, Mom, look, I met with 4 people this week. Or like, Mom, look, there's the next step in the dream. So I'm updating her on the dream. So I don't just leave it blank to the point like, oh, what are you doing? You're doing nothing. I'm giving her a follow-up because, and I didn't do that because, at first I didn't start doing that because of, I wanted to, like, not, like, to get her off me. It was because she didn't bother me. I felt like I owe it to her to be like, you're not stressing me out. Hey, so I don't put no worry on you. Here's what I'm doing. So it could be the sign of, she could have a relief. Like, oh, I know he's doing something.
At least he said she, you know, I had that same I had that conversation with my mother a lot. You know, the same thing, she's very supportive. She was like, you know, I would show her like the shows and different videos, but she was like, I know you're showing me you're speaking, you're doing shows, but are you making money? Where the money at? She's like, where's the money from it?
That's the thing with Haitian, like, I tell my mom this every day. It's not money, because I'll show her I'm meeting with 7-figure earners, 8-figure earners, 9-figure earners. And she's like, okay, they have so much money where I don't see you getting the money. But I'm like, sometimes you can't just see the money. I've worked with certain people, they didn't give me a dime, but a connection I made from them have taken me to the next level. Whether it's just a simple book they refer to me, whether it's the next person in the journey they introduced me to. But them, it's like, the money. Like, if you're not showing me the money, you ain't showing me nothing. And I understand that, because, like, they don't want to leave this earth feeling like, man, like, who's gonna take care of it? Because some of them, like, I've been blessed enough. My parents have provided for me a roof over my head for the majority of the time, even though I was making money, but they wanted me to build enough before, like, me going out on my own. So it's like, they want you to be stable.
Yeah, they want to make sure that you can succeed. But I was talking to somebody, and I'm not gonna mention who, but he's trying to go off to college, but, you know, like, it's like, I don't think you're ready to go off yet, or like, I don't think you could handle the pressures. You know, sometimes your parents try and protect you from you know, the possibilities of life. What do you think about that? Do you think that when you're like 17, 18, you should be given the free range to make your choice and explore the world, especially if you've been like I live this your whole life? What do you think? How do someone should make that decision based on the values of God, based on all the things you know?
A lot of times you'll see a lot of kids want to go away for college because they want that freedom their parents never gave them. So me, I already had that freedom. So I made that decision as like, what is the best for me? Not like a selfish decision where it's like, okay, this is the first time I'm gonna be free from my parents' control. And I see that in the community a lot, especially the Haitian community. The kids make the decision to go off to college for freedom, not for like to go to, like, you know.
Like, what is your purpose for going there? What career do you want? Is this the best route? Do you want to spend that? Is the debt worth it?
So they just go, so me, I made the decision because I had enough information and enough experience to be like, I'm not gonna go off to college. And I was not pressured to go off to college because I wanted freedom, like I said, because my parents, and it's not by choice, because they were both busy working, but I was already free. I was already, wherever I wanted to go, I was able to go. So I was able to make that decision, like, what would be best. Yeah, overall, not just, oh, I want freedom, let me go off somewhere. So I would say to make that decision, not, oh, you want freedom, and it was so beneficial for me to stay home because I didn't have to pay for, like, to stay on campus. I didn't have to worry about getting a job to pay for, like, my food and things like that.
Meal plan.
Meal plans.
Campus, you have to get a meal plan. You have all these.
So it was so much beneficial because those extra money I had, it allowed me to start small businesses and getting my feet wet in different areas, pay for certain conferences and things like that.
Really helped you out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell us about a time where you wasn't so well at making those good decisions. You know, I spoke to you before, and you told me something that was really empowering, and I feel like a lot of people need to hear it. You know, so tell me about a time where you made some decisions that were not so positive, maybe negative, and what was the learning experience from that?
I can say the time, 12th grade year when, you know, like I said, coming from Haiti, not really being known, and, you know, kids pick on you and things like that. So making a transition from middle school to high school, like, I went from the nerdy kid to the popular kid. Because, you know, I was into the fashion, playing sports and all that. So started getting attention. So the attention, and not just in my school, in different schools, because now we're in the age of social media. So if you're known here, people start following you, making your head big. So I was not doing the things that the people around me were doing, but I just started being around so much people to the point that the things that, so I can say the decisions I was making of the people I was being with, like I was hanging out with, they were doing things illegally, but the things they were doing, it began to fall on me when police started to investigate. It was like, okay, because I looked almost like the ringleader, it was like, okay, you know, maybe he got something to do with what's going on. But because I was making the wrong decision of who to hang out with. And I know in the history, they always tell you, be careful with friends you have, be careful with friends you have. But it's like, you know, especially me, I'm like, I'm not doing what they're doing. Like, if we're going out to parties, I'm just enjoying myself. But that year, it really started, not only by the law, but, you know, guilty by association, the people that, like, they had problems with, they started attacking me now because, like, yo, like, you with them. And, like, at that time, 12th grade year, it being my parents' business doing good, so my dad always giving me money. That's how he made up for not being there. Yo, anything I need, here. Mom, anything I need, here. So it's more like, now, it's like, okay, you're young and you have all this money. And at that time, I was not the person I am today. I had the mouth full of golds. Like I said, I always try to have different shoes on. I had a car, at that time, a nice car for the time, and being 17, 18 years old. So it's like, yo, you doing something. Yeah. Like, so I started getting in trouble to the point, like, when it comes to the law, I could have faced almost like 20 years. Like, when it comes to the law, and like people coming after me when it comes to my life. I had threats on my life, threats on my family's life. So I can say that was the decision of who I hanged with. Right. That was one of the biggest, and that's why this day, like, that is something that I don't play about. Like, I don't associate myself. Like, sometimes I take it to the point before like say I get invited to certain places, I don't just go. Like, I would have to know, sometimes if it's depending on the event, I want to know the guest list. Like, it gets, that with me, that's how I live my life nowadays.
And let's say you show up and it's not what you expected.
It's just I come, show my face, and I leave. I show my face and I leave. Like it's a lot of times like, and I've learned that from a lot of mentors, because a lot of times you want to support people, but the things that they're doing, it don't align with you. So it kind of conflicts, and with that principle of protocol, so now just like, I don't want to make them feel bad, and people think like you're sadiddy, you better than them, that's why you don't come. No, like I'm not better than no one. I'm not better. Dust we came and dust we shall return. So what I'll do, I'll show up, I'll do what I can, but I won't linger, I won't stay too long. So God forbid something pop up or something, I won't be associated with.
Yeah. So from that experience, you really learn.
Yes.
You really learn that. And I think that's a good thing too.
Yeah, because imagine almost like you could have went to jail for like 25 years, 20 years. Your family could have been killed for things you were not doing. So like, if you don't learn nothing from that, like, I don't know what to tell you.
So what's your message to the youth based on that?
Of course, be careful. Like, you have to know who you're with, who you're around, especially your intimate like circle, like that circle that's around. You have to know, like, it's life and death. I'm not saying like you be a CSI Miami and research people, but you have to know. And every environment give birth to things. Every environment has things. Like whenever you're looking for something, there's a certain environment to get it. So know the environment you're going into, and know the people that's gonna be in the environment. That's one thing I'll say.
That's powerful. I think a lot of youth needs to listen to what he's saying and actually really think about your circle. They say that if you have 9 of your friends are broke, you're the 10th broke one. You know, if you have 9 friends with broken spirits, with broken intentions, wanting to hurt or whatever it is, you kind of become a victim of that. So, Mr. Nold, we've been talking a lot about your personal life, some of the experiences of your youth. And, you know, I want to know more about your organization. What is your organization about? What's the mission for your organization?
Okay. Like I stated earlier, the mission of the organization is to teach young men and women how to live a well-balanced life. And the way we do that is by educating them on finance. So anything in finance, stocks, real estate, like from like balancing a checkbook, interest rate, APR, anything that has to do with finance, we'll educate them on their health, holistic health, natural ways of healing and things like that. Then also relationship, the area of relationship, not just romantic relationships, but relationships on friendships, business relationships, teach them that there's something greater than yourself, which is God. So we'll teach them the relationship. How do you connect with God? What are the steps to getting closer to God, of living a life in communion with God? So those are the 4 brackets. We believe that once you're educated and you're applying those things in your life, you become a well-balanced individual. And, yeah. Now I was about to say, it's not easy, but our goal is to teach that so we can have well-balanced individuals.
And education should be a continual thing.
Yes.
Personal development. So tell us about that. You know, an aspect of the show is how do you grow, right? So let's talk about how have you been able to develop yourself to the point where you can be meeting these 6-figure, 7-figure, 8-figure winners, to the point where you can be negotiating different contracts with different organizations and getting grants and stuff like that. What was the process of you growing so that you could go to that?
Like I said, when I gave my life to God 12th grade year, it was a total transition. Yeah. Like I left that, and it was not by my own will. Well, it was by my own will, but it was not by my own strength. Because some of the things I started getting into at the age of 19, 20, and some of the people I started meeting, like from my background, coming from Haiti, is like, you don't meet those people. So I felt like when I made a decision to like change my life around and give my life to God, it's like God started he said, I was ready. Because if I met those people when I was going to the club and I had the mouth full of gold, I could have probably used those resources and connections to do other things. But thank God, like those people started coming into my life. then. And not only, like I said, it's not always money someone can offer you. Like I always tell someone, the best thing you can do is not give me money, but is to give me a word of wisdom that could take me to the next level. Because I know everyone heard, like, teach a man to fish, you'll have food for a lifetime. But if I just give you the fish, then I'll always be needing you. So I think God strategically placed people in, and that's how now I have the organization to teach young men and women how to live a well-balanced life, because strategically, in a 5-year span, God will connect me with different people. Like different people, whether, they're in different areas of finance, different areas of health, different areas when it comes to like connecting with God and finding your purpose, relationships, whether counselors or whatever. It will strategically be done, and I'll be learning under them, and at the same time, I'll be reading books, different books, seminars. One of the first, most impactful book, it's one of the first of its kind. I know a lot of people know about Think and Grow Rich. Yeah.
Use it, but they say it's the Bible of personal development.
Yes. Because, but believe it, the principle Think and Grow Rich comes from the Bible.
It is pretty much.
Yeah, it comes from the Bible. It don't contradict. It's direct. It directly comes from the Bible. It's like, but it just took a principle from the Bible, and just there you go. Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about that. When I mentioned to you personal development, you mentioned God in the Bible. So you believe, and I do believe this, that the Bible itself and God's way is a great way to mold your character and build these characteristics.
Of course. A lot of time when I first came out to God, and I know a lot of people put, because it was a transition. Like when I told you my family before, like the 14, and my family was going to church, we were going to a Catholic church. Because my family, typically from Haiti, most people are Catholic. But when I had that transition in 12th grade, it was not the Catholic church I went to. Because remember, I stopped going from like the age of 14 to like 18. But when God found me, he led me to the Christian church, like not Catholic, but the church I'm at is a non-denomination. So it's not Baptist, it's not it's not those. It's
just a non.
Yeah, it's a Christian church. So I saw church from two different. Yeah, it was so like wow, I'm learning, and I'm learning on the principles. One of the most things that blew my mind was understanding that there's two sides when it comes to the gospel. There's the relationship and there's the principles. And a lot of times, a lot of people that's in church only focus on the relationship, being with Christ, they're praying, they're worshiping, but they never apply the principles. So that's a lot of times you'll find the people that's in church or the most religious people, they're broke. They're not happy. Why? Because they're praying every day. They're in the relationship part, but they forget all about the principles that Christ has laid out.
Got to read your word. And
so you have to live the gospel fully. You have to have the relationship with Christ, and then you also have to apply the principles he gives. Now, whatever you do, whatever you apply is what you get. For example, you'll see a lot of men who are successful, whether in relationship, whatever area, but they don't even believe in God. Why? Because they're applying the principles. And then you see the people who believe in God, they're in a relationship, but they're not successful in life because they forget about the principles. So that you see that there goes back a well-balanced life. Like you can't just focus on one side. And that's why we have so much with the gospel, it's a few people that's living out the gospel. Like I could say it goes down to 1%. Like you can search many churches, I could say it's only 1% of people that's really living according to how God planned.
That's the rhetoric of the world. With every component, it's always just a 1%. It's like 1% waking up early. There's 1% really following through. It's a 1%. We live in a 1% world 1%. And 90% lost.
Yes.
Wow. Yes. That's a deep.
So I was not a typical reader. Like I would not be the one to pick up a book. That was before no. but I knew I had to change habits. But it was like, okay, I'm not like everyone else. How can I? So I noticed that I like audios. I went back to kindergarten and first grade where they would give us the book but have the audio playing at the same time. So I realized that was the way I was with the Bible, because the Bible app will play it for you and things like that. Amazing. Yeah. And with the books, nowadays you don't even have to read the book. Most of the books, the knowledge I have in my head, I didn't even buy the book, read the book. I just go on YouTube, book review. Give me the main points, the most important details. Through an 8-minute video, I get a summary of the book, boom. And I pick up some of those principles, I take them, and I go. Some books, especially if it's real good, when I read listen to the reviews, I pick it up myself to get more into detail of what they were saying. So yeah, definitely books and mentors. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, mentors is important. Yeah. I mean, what do you have any mentors now?
I will forever, like until I'm in the grave, I will have mentors. My biggest mentor, like physically living, has been my pastor. Gregory Toussaint. He's made tremendous impact in my life. He made a tremendous impact. And then after that, I have like different mentors. Like I have a list. I don't want to leave nobody out. That's why I'm not. Have to go through this. I have a list in different areas.
So you'd say you should definitely have mentors from all different areas of your life. Take that piece of nugget and keep it with you.
Yeah, sure.
That's powerful. Speaking of principles, one question I always ask is, what is your morning routine looking like?
I get up latest when I'm doing projects. When I'm in the midst of project like the Hear My Cry project, which you guys will hear about later, I was getting up 2, 3 a.m. in the morning. But when I'm not doing projects or planning for an event, my typical time of waking up is 5 a.m. Now, because I don't want to make it, because everybody hear that a lot, I don't want to give myself credit. Why I want to say I don't want to give myself credit? Because mind you, I'm from Haiti. And in Haiti, we wake up early because our parents want us to study a little bit of what we learned the previous day. Plus, you got to take a shower. You have to boil the water because it's not like here, especially back then where you just turn on the... It's not like that. We have to wake up around like 4 a.m., 5 a.m. to boil the water. Typically, those are the things you do. But yeah, so 5 a.m., spend time with God. Then I will read. I'll read the word for at least 30, try to read for 30 minutes or listen to the audio. Then a book, typically a book that I'm reading at that time. Read it for another 30 minutes. Then now, on good days, if I'm not being rushed after that, 7 a.m., I will want to get a workout in, at least 15 to 30 minutes. That do not happen every day. I'm in a season, actually now I'm focusing more of like make sure that happens.
And our generation needs to take care of that right now.
Yeah.
It's important.
Yeah, so I would do that, but when I don't do that, because it's not, the mental health thing is very important. When I don't do that, I'll just go to the beach. Like sometimes I wake up, like I go to the beach. And then, or not even the beach, I have a specific spot, only like a few people know about it. No, I won't tell it.
Target you, boy.
I go there and it's so peaceful. I look at the waters. Yeah. I look at the waters and I sit in this grass and man, people are, because this is around like 7, 8 o'clock in the morning.
Okay, so, as we're about to conclude, I want you to talk about what led to the Hear My Cry movement. A lot of times, we're crying inside. We know a lot of people are in quiet desperation. I say that inspiration is loud. This is very loud. Yeah. When I want to inspire you, I want to push you, I want to motivate you to be your best, it's very loud. But when I'm in quiet desperation, you don't hear about it. When we're in quiet desperation, what was the time when you was in your quiet desperation and now you are a loud inspiration through the Hear My Cry movement?
Looking back, I was like, wow. Everything I was doing was because I had a cry inside, but no one would see it. No one would see it. And it's like, I look back at that time, I was messing around with so much girls. A lot of girls. And the people who know me know what was going on.
Some people watching right now saying, yeah, man, good job. People are like, yo, high five. Good job.
It It was a messy time, but then it traced back to the divorce my parents was going through. From 14 years old, 'cause remember at 14 years old, they're going through their divorce. So mind you, from 14 to 18, that's when I was on my own. So they're going through a divorce, but I don't know the impact it was having on me. I just thought I'm going through life. So I was playing basketball. I was not the greatest, but I can do some things on the court. To the point, 9th grade year, I was on varsity. From 9th grade to 11th grade, when I stopped, I was on varsity. So basketball was the way of dealing with it at that moment. But as I got older and older, 17, 18, messing around with all type of women, going to all different type of clubs, that void that was inside of me, basketball was not enough. And I come to, it's after now 2014, because I got saved in 2012, 2 years later, God took me back to the motherland, Haiti, and all this was explained to me. And I, like, what I was going through, the reason why I was doing them.
Just give us a quick little overview of the reasons you think he was doing them.
I was hurt. I seen the abuse my mom was going through, then the divorce, the constant arguments, and then I tell you, before then I was picked on in school, bullied, and I was hurt. My older brother, in and out of jail, in and out of jail, coming like the police banging on our door, coming to get my older brother because my older brother was always had conflict with the law. Like those things was weighing on me. And in 2014, I came to realize, wow, the things I was doing before I gave my life to Christ, it was covering up that hurt. All those girls I was sleeping with or doing the things I was doing, it was to cover that. Because like I tell you, basketball was no longer enough. Then it came to women. You might never know, God forbid. It could have been a point where I could have turned to drugs. And God forbid, God took me before that, but you might never know. Because remember, like the void just keep getting bigger and bigger. So 2014, realized that, and I was like, wow, I had a cry that no one was seeing. So then I was inspired. Coming back from the trip from Haiti, every morning something would just wake me up. Like 2, 3 a.m. in the morning, I would just write what was coming to my mind, which gave birth to the Hear My Cry spoken word. And then from there, at that time, like I told you, I had a production business going on. So I wanted to put a visual behind it. So just kept waiting on God to lead me of who to use. So the piece was ready. Then I was like, I'm not gonna put my face for this movement because I don't want people to think it's about me. So God led me to find someone who already was into spoken word, had him narrate it. Then I did the production, had a good friend who did editing. He edited the video. 2017, we released the Hear My Cry project. And the Hear My Cry, it started as the Hear My Cry project. Yeah. But my spiritual father, Pastor Gregory Toussaint, I remember having a meeting with him. He was like, man, this is not just a project, this is a movement. And then from there, I was like, he didn't even, to this day, I didn't tell him, that was from God. And I was like, wow, this is a movement. So from first presenting it at a youth group that I was in, then from different schools, organizations, and then just started carrying around. And the movement is basically the Hear My Cry project is like, before judging anyone, take the time to get to know them. It's simple as that. Hear my cry. Because you do not know someone until you get to know what's in their hearts. That's why it's like, hear my cry. And a lot of times we behave a certain way, we act a certain way, we do certain things because of what we've been through or what we're going through. And at the time, we have no recognition of it. It's people outside that got to realize, man, this young man have a cry. This young man, this young lady, she or he's doing this because, let me find out what's behind it. And like I said, sometimes the person themselves don't know. Yeah. But it's you who's outside. If you get to listen to their story or see what's going on in their life, you could be like, man, this young man's doing all this, man. He just don't have a mentor in his life. He don't have a big brother. My big brother was not there in my life. My dad, he was always working. So I was being raised by friends and TV. So, or that young lady, she's behaving that way because she don't have a father figure, or she's long for attention, or no one give her, the time of day. So if we go from that perspective, from what is wrong with you to what happened to you, I really believe we can make a lot of impact. And changing what's happening. And I remember in 2014, it was not like a lot of mass shootings that was happening like that. It was a few, but I remember one thing God spoke to me is like, man, you're gonna see mass shootings start to increase because a lot of people have cries that no one is listening to. They're just being categorized as delinquent, whatever, this, that.
Or ignored, just ignored.
Or ignored. And their way of crying out is by doing something like that. Yes, like I said, yes, a lot of cases is mental health, but a lot of time it's just seeking for attention. It's a lot of seeking for attention. Because if you take the time to go look at interviews of those people, like after their arrest, or some of the things they've said, it's like you'll hear quotes like, no one would listen to me. They did this to me. This and this happened to me, but no one would listen. It's like that kid, in school growing up, we always had that weird kid in the classroom that would be to himself. To this day, I remember, and this was like around 2010 in high school. There was this one kid in our class, and of course I won't say his name. He was the weird kid. Everybody knew him. Always being picked on, people would throw paper balls at him. It was one time, one of the kids that was picking on him, he used to love to draw. The kid took the notebook from him because he was picked on. He saw his name on a list, and the kid like, yo, why you got my name on the list? It was a list of kids he was gonna retaliate against. And that was before the mass shooting was popular. And I remember that day, I was like, me myself, I was kind of like, I was a class clown. Yeah. So I didn't really take it serious. It's now I see all this thing being played out, I'm like, wow, like, is it? So that's the Hear My Cry project. Now the movement is basically, before judging someone, take the time to know what they're going through. And that's why you see this hat that I wear. The symbol of the movement, it's two ears that come together to make a heart. Because in order to know someone, you must go into their heart. And in order to know what's in somebody's heart, you must listen. You must listen to, yes. Because even though we don't know what's our words, our speech patterns reveal a lot about us. It's just who take the time to listen. So this movement is to encourage anti-bullying. It's to encourage community. Listen to one another. Like, you don't have to be my best friend. Like, just, to end off with this, when it comes to this segment, to this area, one of the questions people always ask, like when you see somebody, hey, how you doing? And then they just keep moving. Like, that question, it irritates me sometimes. Because a lot of people don't ask for the answer. It's just like, hey, hey, how you doing? And then they don't stop to hear because everybody always just say, I'm fine, I'm good, I'm okay. Like, it's not true. None of us at any given time, one thing I've learned, if it's besides death and they say taxes that we share in common, well, some people, they don't pay. So one thing we all face is problems. At any given time in this earth, we'll always have problems. So when somebody said they're okay, that it's just to, like, you know what, man, like, it's to keep it moving. So we have to do better as a people, as a community, as a nation, to take time to get to know each other or what's going on in each other's life. And I believe that will do tremendous when it comes to, like, ending the whole mass shootings and countless other problems that we have.
And we're back. With that being said, Hernold, what is your final message?
And when I was coming out, I spoke to you when I was coming out. I feel like God put this on my heart, especially in the Haitian community. And I feel like this is not only for the Haitian community, just anyone. We have lost what it means to dream, to have dreams and to have goals. And what I mean by that is, if you want to go to school, if you want to get your degree, if you want to make money, if you want to get married, if you want to, like things like that, personal things that you want to do. Those are considered goals. Dreams are things that are outside of you, bigger than you. Dreams is something that's supposed to take you outside, like you don't know how you're gonna accomplish it. It's okay to have goals. It's okay to want to graduate, get married, make money. Those are goals. Set those as goals. But when you're dreaming, let it be something greater than you. Be the next person to do the next greatest thing. Be the next person to land on another planet, create the next biggest thing. A dream will never allow you to stop growing. A dream will continuously make you, you're in a continuous pursuit of this thing that is bigger than yourself. So I encourage everyone who's listening to have dreams. Know the difference between a dream and a goal and chase those dreams, because those dreams is what you were created to do, is what you were created to be, because that's why you're a human being, because you're created to do those things, to be those things.
Dreams and goals can become magnets and pull you through everything, through your life circumstance. Having a vision, an end goal, but just don't confuse the dream with the goal. You know, the goals are just stepping stones to achieving a bigger purpose, stepping stones to growing your character, making you better, making you learn and build your circle and everything that will get you to achieving the dream. And let this interview empower you to seek out people like Hernold, his organization, organizations that help you grow, organizations that empower you to listen to yourself and others. And with that being said, I want to remind you of the unlimited power that you have in you to achieve whatever it is that you want. But first you must believe it, before you can actually turn it to a reality. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Unlimited Power Show. Hernold, how can they find you on
social media? You guys can find us at Mr. MR_. The underscore is very important. Nolds, Mr. Nolds, and then you'll see it. Our platform is set up very personal. So don't get it confused to think like it's a personal page. It's actually an organizational page, but we're taking the lifestyle marketing part of business and integrating it into an organization, because we realize that's what really make an impact with people. So Mr. Nold, Mr._Nolds on Instagram, Facebook, and all our Facebook page, and also YouTube, Mr. Nold, Mr._Nolds.
All right, thank you so much for tuning in. Please be sure to follow us at the Unlimited Power Show. It's at Unlimited Power Show on Instagram, Facebook, and also follow me at CEO Ambitionist, where I post a lot more content. You stay updated with the show and never miss an episode. And thank you so much for tuning in, powerful people. Remember, you have the unlimited power in you to achieve whatever it is that you want. But first, you must believe it before it can happen, or else the world will forever miss your talents, your gifts, and all the great things that you have to offer. Thank you. Be sure to tune in to the Unlimited Power Show every Tuesdays at 4, Fridays at 5 p.m. And follow the Unlimited Power Show. The @name is in the description below.
Always be connected to your spirit. Your spirit will tell you when you're onto something. And the moment you realize that you're onto something, continue to explore what that sensation is, no matter what it is. I realized I had a real knack for writing, as I was writing small little stories, and it was just certain thoughts and concepts that I would write down, and that I would look back at them probably a month or two later and say, this is a really interesting concept. It wasn't necessarily somebody who was telling me that it was good, but it was something that every time I went back to look at it, it stood out to me in a different way. You know what I mean? So whatever your passion may be, whether it may be writing, whether it may be music, whether it may be art. I know someone that we're going to be celebrating real soon, shout out to Tron, who makes his own scented candles. That's not something you could just necessarily pick up. He had to go through the process of learning that he had a knack for this ability, that he had an ability for this. As he was doing, he realized I was onto something, and now he's created a business out of it. So I encourage anyone, the moment you realize that you have a certain passion, that you have a certain connection to something that you're doing, explore that with every fiber of your being. Put your soul into it, even if it's for 6 months, just to see what comes out of it.